There is, to this day, a legend about how Superman was created. It goes like this. One hot summer night when Jerry Siegel couldn't sleep, he gradually, over the course of that evening, put together all the pieces that would make Superman, Superman.
The hot summer night story is, of course, Jerry's tossing and turning at night, and then, bam, there's Superman springs from his head, and he goes to Joe's house and he draws it.
This legend first appeared in a 1941 Saturday Evening Post profile of Superman's creators and owners. In this article, a hot summer night was in 1932. Here's how Jerry Siegel described it back in 1941.
I was lying in bed counting sheep when all of a sudden it hits me. I conceive a character like Samson, Hercules, and all the strong men I ever heard of rolled into one, only more so. I hop right out of bed and write this down, and then I go back and think some more for about 2 hours, and get up again and write that down. This goes on all night at 2-hour intervals, until in the morning, I have a complete script.
42 years later, Jerry described the same incident in a text feature in Action Comics 544, the issue celebrating the 45th anniversary of Superman. Only now, the hot summer night is in 1934. Here's how Jerry described it in 1983.
Late one night, it was so hot that I had trouble falling asleep. I passed the time trying to come up with a dramatic story element for the comic strip. One premise I had already conceived came back to me, but an even sharper focus.
Everything apparently came together for Jerry that night. The child on the doomed planet Krypton, rocketed to Earth, raised by loving parents, the dual identity of Superman and Clark Kent, and the romantic interest Lois Lane, who formed a love triangle between those two identities. And as dawn broke,
I almost fell out of bed in my haste to get it all down in script form on paper. Much later, I returned to bed, one happy guy. I felt I had come up with the surefire element for a smash-hit comic strip. Very early the next morning, I didn't bother to eat. I ran all the way 12 blocks to Joe's apartment, where he lived with his family.
Or as the Saturday Evening Post article put it in 1941, Siegel, shirt-tail flying and script clutched in his fevered hands, raced through the empty streets to the Schuster home, one of the few violent exertions he has ever permitted himself, and roused his partner. Schuster took fire at once. Without pausing for either food or rest, they spent the rest of the day polishing off the first 12 Superman strips. The story told therein is now as familiar to the average American boy as George Washington and the Cherry Tree. But here's the thing. Young George Washington didn't actually cut down a cherry tree.